Hi, I'm Mary Poplin with Imagineer Systems and Boris Effects, and today I'm going to show you how to use the BCC 10 Remover and the BCC 10 PixelChooser inside of Avid Media Composer to replace an object in the background and rotoscope over the top. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to use a clone from the Remover tool to replace this background orange area, and we're going to use Mocha Roto to replace this hat back on top of it. So, to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to go down to our track and we're going to go New Video Track. Inside of New Video Track, we're going to go ahead and go to our sequence, and we're going to drag that right back down to our timeline so that we have two of our exact same sequence. Let's close that out. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Image Restoration Tools and the Remover, and we're going to drag and drop that right on our timeline. Now that this is on our timeline, we're going to launch our effects browser. Inside of our effects browser, what we're going to do is we're going to see a source and a destination. So, here's our destination. We're going to move that right over the center of our orange. And let's actually go to the end of our shot, because that's where there's the most orange visible. What we're going to do is take our destination right over the center of our orange, and we're going to take our source, move it somewhere over here on the wall. Now, you can see that this orange is so big that we're not going to have enough room here to clone from this background. No problem. We're going to increase our radius, and you can see that we're actually grabbing some of her hat. We're going to increase our feather so that this blends better into the wall. And you can see that we're starting to grab some of this wall over here. Now we're going to scale our clone, just like this. And that gets rid of a lot of those problems. Let's feather this just a little bit more. And what you're going to see is that this should be now replaced for the entirety of the object using a simple clone tool. Alright, now that our remover is complete, we can turn our second layer on visually. And we'll go to Key and Blend. Inside of Key and Blend, we're going to pick BCC PixelChooser and drag it right onto our top layer. Now you can see this applies a sort of black and white mask on top of this. Don't worry about that for right now. From here, we're going to launch our effects panel, and then we're going to go to Launch Mocha. When you hit Launch Mocha, you may get a warning that says this host is not set to full resolution. Tracking at reduced resolution can be faster but less accurate. Do you wish to continue tracking at proxy resolution? I like to hit cancel on this, and then I like to switch to full video quality down here in the bottom left corner. From here, we're going to launch Mocha, and you can see that no warning pops up. When we launch Mocha, we should be able to see our image at full resolution. Now, I'm going to navigate to the end of my shot, zoom in with the zoom tool, and use the X-spline tool to create new shapes. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a shape around the top of her hat, just like this. And I'm going to come a little bit inside of her hat shape. The reason I do that is because what I want to do is I want to make sure that the motion blur doesn't have any of this dark orange in it because her hat is so much lighter. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a shape around the scarf part of her hat. Now, I don't really care about the edges down here. What I do care about, though, is the edges up at the top where they cross over the orange again. And the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a much larger shape around her face and the front of her hat, and that is actually going to blend her head back over my feathering. And then we'll see if I need to add any holdout shapes for her shoulders or arms. So let's go ahead and let these track backwards, and we can turn our auto stabilize tool on if we want to just center those in the screen. Watch what Mocha's doing. And you can see that Mocha's doing a pretty good job of hanging on, but what we need to do is we need to correct these shapes wherever they're off. So let's correct our ribbon here, just like that. Bring this down, and that's close enough. The next thing we're going to do is correct the top shape of her hat. Let's look for where this is off the most. We're going to bring these top parts that are in the orange down, because again, we want to err on the side of being inside the hat, not out, because that dark shape. And of course, we're going to start to correct it anywhere that it starts to go off. So I'm using my transform tool because it's just much easier to manipulate points all at once. And let's drag all of these over to here. There we are. Let's just, for the heck of it, add a nice big shape around her arms and body, and let that track as well. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save this, and we're going to close it. So there's only a little bit of a problem with this. The PixelChooser automatically does a Luma key, so you got to change that in the channels. Let's open up our PixelChooser. We go to PixelChooser Matte, Channel, None. Output for the title matte, we want that to be Stencil Alpha. And then we want to invert the mask. And that's all there is to it, so let's see what that looks like. If you have any questions, I'm Mary Poplin with Imagineer Systems and Boris Effects, and we have tons of tutorials online for you to check out at www.boriseffects.com.